Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of our 4th Age Total War Rohan No Deaths run, where the goal is to win the campaign without eliminating any other factions, and we are attacking an army right outside the settlement of Akasanaban. If I get up onto the hill here, we can see the city off in the distance. There's going to be a garrison coming out right over here, looks like. And we haven't got a chance to take a look at these units, but there look like some respectable ones in the mix. We've got 1, 2, 3 units, actually 2 units of spears, 2 units of swords. And it looks like a couple of skirmishers. No cav though, no archers. So that's pretty good. This army here does have some archers. Oh no, these are skirmishers. Got a couple of swords, and I'm not quite sure what else. We're getting our men up around the hill. And of course the goal is to eliminate both of these armies. We are on the attack, and this settlement is located just south of the Harnan, which means that it is it's kind of on the borderline between a few different factions. So the goal here is essentially to make life more difficult for Harad, possibly end up gifting this territory to, maybe Far Harad, because I don't think we're going to keep this for ourselves. We'll see what the public order looks like, of course, but this is not a type of settlement that I would usually think of holding. I mean, it's a very good settlement if you are a Haradrian faction. It's got very decent production capability, I guess. Right, they're sending the footmen out, so I think I'll send in my light cavalry. Let's get our other guys up on the crest of that hill. I figured we'd be able to break these guys pretty fast. Let's send in the general here. And that should do it. They're shaken, wavering. We've got some decent units here. I'm kind of blobbing everybody around. Those guys, those footmen, are doing a lot better than I thought. I know that we're charging uphill into spears, but I thought that would go a little bit better than it did. Okay, so we've got those guys taken care of. Let's head up into the swords. Bring these horse archers around. Alright, let's try to hit now. Yeah, it kind of feels like we're throwing away our southern advantage here. Well, we did have a pretty decent battle in the last episode in terms of making some changes in the south. We managed to flip a settlement over to Far Harad. That's always good. These spearmen kind of don't know what they're doing here. But we got these 2 units of swords, and hopefully we can get them to break. Let's see. Spearmen are really doing well. This is a lot of melee units. A lot of mercenary types. Let's bring out our more numerous horse archers and bring them back here. Swords of Harad reloading. Okay, we're getting charged in. Let's hit them, and that should be the general. Yeah, the enemy commander's gone. Let's bring these guys back and away, and hit this other general. Alright, so we're going to end up losing a bunch of mercs. Okay, there goes the other commander. Good. And we've still got our family member here, although now we're fighting some spearmen. Yeah, so we don't... we again are going to need to beef this up somehow. We do not have a very good presence in the south when it comes to, like, holding territory. And we may lose our family member down here. We're going to need to get some different guys in the south. We do not have a lot of family members who are at of sort of like a decent age. Let's get this guy, pull him out. We're starting to lose down here. Alright, swords are going to be just shooting into us. But we can turn around and hit them with this blob, and I think that'll be the end of it. But this is ultimately, of course, a very, very costly battle for us. Did not go well. And I think I was just too eager to get into the melee, again, with the eyes of getting the settlement, but... yeah, let's see, what are we at here? We're at 93%. Let's just end the battle. Yeah, that took a lot out of that army. So we're going to have to see just how much we have here. There are a couple of infantry units, mercenaries that we could train, but I don't think they're going to be that helpful. Okay, and we've got our backup army, which I did kind of forget about, as well as these guys. So we could actually, you know, since we have a family member here, let's recruit them. And do I want to hit the settlement with this army? I think so. Alright, here we will lay desolate just to make maximum damage. And we're up to 40% public order. That's with our capital here at the outpost of Dunlendings, which is kind of in the middle of our territory. Remember, we've got a settlement over in Dorwinion. We've got a few settlements up around Tharbad and further north. So it's unlikely that we're going to be able to hold on to a settlement like this with all of those places. But it'll be good to get rid of some of this stuff. This will, you know, maybe put Harad back down a peg. And here's their Mumakil training grounds. So we can destroy this and basically never see them again. Now in terms of these other things, let's see, who's got what? So this is Far Harad, this is Far Harad. And they're under siege by a big army here. They're under siege by Khand, I'm thinking, over here. They still own this, which is kind of surprising. But yeah, I'm thinking that between Khand and Harad, Far Harad is really in trouble. So I think we have to give that settlement to them. We can't do it this turn because we're on their territory. So what we need to do is move our guys around. But the other thing is, I'm realizing Harad itself, we have to be kind of careful about this, because Harad itself only has, you know, Umbar and a couple of inland settlements now, right? They've got Adabara, they've got this one, which is Athendad, and then they've got these settlements along the coast. These two, this one, and then Umbar itself. They got a couple of forts over here too. And I guess they technically have Harlorn, although it looks like Harondor is going to start going for that. So this is where it gets tricky, because we want to hurt Harad to stop them from wiping out Far Harad. But we don't want to hurt them so badly that they're going to themselves be eliminated. So I think what I'll do is we're going to keep a lot of these buildings, because they're going to be useful to whoever we give this to, right? Far Harad is going to make use of this stuff, and then maybe we will just hang out somewhere. Let's bring these guys over here, and I think I'm going to have this army parked right here, where we can have these guys show up as reinforcements, and that should be that. Oh, great! He got the Aorling Hero. The tales of this rider's exploits in battle have run the length and breadth of the mark and beyond, considering where he is. So, +3 morale, 10% decrease to troop training costs, and +2 command when commanding cavalry. So that +2 command would be in effect here. When commanding cavalry means 50% or more of your army is horses. So that definitely applies here. Alright, but let's turn our attention to the other parts of the territory. We do have some plague up in Woldburg, but nothing that we can really do anything about, or nothing that I'm concerned about. We're seeing that Dunbar does have mid-deeping, but they're kind of being pinched. They haven't taken any territory over here. And the Reunited Kingdom is slowly moving into Mordor. So, in fact, Dunbar might be a faction to watch for, which is, one reason we're not at war with them yet. We certainly could have gone to war early on, but it looked like they weren't. It looked like they weren't causing too much trouble to the Reunited Kingdom, and we never had to fight them. We may, in fact, need to help them out so they don't get eliminated. In the northeast, we've still got Gargle under siege. And what I want to do, in theory, is get enough men trained here so we can put Rathwin under siege and try to get a protectorate. So let's see. Maybe we can get these slingers out of here. We'll just kind of combine them, and then we'll kick out the 3. They can hang out in Belgant, and we'll train probably another unit of slingers. Very good. And yeah, pretty low public order here. Let's go with the very cheap and effective Rovanian Forester levies. Brings it down to 495. A little touchy, but we'll go with it. We got to keep that up. Okay, and here at the Southgard Fort, we are under siege again. The trick here is that we've got a force out into the west who is kind of keeping Tharbad on edge. We'll be able to bring these guys back in a little bit. We do have a force approaching from the south, so we're actually, I think, okay here. And we've got a lot of money to spend because we just sacked a city. So is there anything that I want to do that I'm holding off on? Well, I guess we could look at Easthold because we do have a governor here. He's getting old, he's adept, he's attuned. So we may as well spend the money while we have it. Easthold, though, is never a settlement that I feel particularly strongly about. It's usually financial just because we've got such great military production in Edoras, which is really close by. And usually I make Hornburg and Aldburg military settlements too. So Easthold goes financial, and financial settlements I tend not to increase all that much, especially a place like this, which feels kind of, middle of the road. It's got horses, but it doesn't seem spectacular. But one thing I could do is go for this always helpful King's Feasts. That's definitely going to bring up land tax, so another couple hundred extra there. It's going to save us a hefty amount of mismanagement, actually, and increase the growth. So we could certainly do that, and then maybe eventually we'll go for, like, mustering fields. So with that said, we'll just, let's see, I'll halt him. We'll see what the AI is going to do. Alright, so they're going to attack a tiny army here. We're going to fight a pretty inconsequential battle. Oh, do I want to fight it here? They're probably going to have the movement points to attack me again. Okay, good. They did not. I'd rather preserve those mercenaries. Okay, Bjornings want trade. I don't really care. And the Reunited Kingdom is making a little disturbing emotions at us, diplomatically speaking. Okay, so here we are attacked. And this is our reinforcement army. And look at the balance of power here. It's 1-to-1. We outnumber them quite handily. So let's take a look at these units. So the attacking army, it doesn't look that threatening. They got a couple of archers and they got some axemen of Tharbad, I guess, right? With this army, okay. I guess the AI is really valuing those axemen a lot. I don't have that much that's great either, but we do have Riders of the Mark. We got some archers. I think we're going to be fine. Okay, interestingly, the Riders, the Rohan Riders are the general unit, not the better unit, the Riders of the Mark. I don't know what determines who the captain unit is going to command. But at any rate, that's a little interesting. Okay, so we'll keep them there. He has skirmish, so I guess that's nice. And we get a lot of these lancers, but let's try to be careful with them for once instead of just slamming them into a melee. I'll put the Riders of the Mark here. I guess we can have all of our archers out front, sort of. And then we do have what? Just one horse archer. Alright. Now they're attacking us, so that means we can choose the ground. And we're going to get reinforced. They're going to get reinforced, rather, from the fort or the settlement. Alright, so... yeah, the ground's not great. Let's pull up here, though.
The enemy have brought up more men.
Okay, they're pretty much straight in front of us. So we'll move like this. Yeah, here come the other reinforcements. We're just slow marching, and these guys are quick marching for some reason. But if we can get over to the side, it'll be good to take out some of these axemen. Again, this is it's a decent unit. I think it's tier 2. But they've got quite a bit of versatility, or I guess not versatility, but defense, like staying power. So we'll just stay right on him. We're cutting him down already. They can't war cry. They don't have any ranged. They can't shield wall. So we're actually probably going to rout them here. And I think, what is it? They've got one unit. Their reinforcements may have already decided to withdraw. It looks like they're moving off. Alright, they're routing away. Very nice. I will pull back these guys because either they're getting shot by another unit or they're getting friendly fire. Okay, that's actually the Mariner Bowmen who are causing trouble. So I would like to take them out. Or at least push them with some of my own cavalry. Okay, these guys may not be withdrawing, actually. Those Mariner swordsmen are throwing javelins at us. And these are basically, you know, a Mariner unit for Tharbad, so they get a pretty nice selection. Someday I may do a Tharbad campaign as a Let's Play. I'm not sure. They're not my favorite faction, to be honest, but they're interesting. There's a Dunlendings faction. Alright. Alright, let's charge now. Alright, that wiped them right out. Let's hit those axemen from all sides. Okay, that ought to be the end of that. Oh, they've got merchant scouts. I didn't even notice. Now, these guys are essentially our tier 1 cav, as you can see. Light lancers, no shields. And they may be withdrawing. Those Mariner Bowmen are pretty solid units in and of themselves. But we got them. Alright, and there goes the other captain there. Now, I don't think we're going to see these guys melt away. There's these Spears of the Bridge, I think it is. They're a militia unit, but still, I think I'm not going to throw my men into it. You know, from the back. And they're gonna get to the end anyway. But let's bring everybody up and see if we could get like one charge. Okay, so this is actually Tharbad Militia. So they're tier 1. We might get them to rout pretty quickly, but I'm not sure if we'll catch them. Nah. Alright, so they're going to get out of there. That's fine. Leave them with their worst troops, basically. And we get a clear victory. Oh, great. We got a proven commander. That is perfect. So this is going to be up around Tharbad. He's energetic. He's supportive is just the default opinion of liege trait. This will always display as supportive. But it's going to change in the following turn to whatever it actually is. He's a wary fighter, though, which is nice. You don't often see that. So he's got some extra hit points there. So definitely a field commander, I would say. He's a northerner, which is also interesting. +1 command when ambushing, +1 security versus enemy agents. But they get a trade malice most of the time. This subculture does, but he does not get the negative. So we could theoretically put him in a settlement and he wouldn't be hurting the trade income. But again, I think he's much more useful as a field commander. So let's just check him out here. Yes, right there. Great. And this is... Let's check his age, actually, because that's pretty important. Okay, he's mature. You know, that could be a little better, I guess. But mature is, you know, is not the worst. It could certainly be middle-aged or old or above. So now what to do with him? So the whole point of this guy was to be bringing these reinforcements up to around Tharbad so I could free up this army to do stuff, to attack Ridmalin, maybe Sarnford. I wanted to grab it. But it was pointed out to me that it might be good to have Sarnford as the place that Tharbad hangs out, right? So we could get them down to just one settlement, and maybe it would be Sarnford, because we could guarantee that no one else would be attacking it, right? Unless another faction came through and destroyed the Shire. So that would be a safe corner for them. The problem is I don't know if they have any family members there. And then if you get a faction down to a single settlement, it can be a little iffy if they're going to survive, because the game tends to give you family members proportionate to the number of settlements that you own. I think this roughly works for the AI factions as well. So I once had it happen when I was playing Rune, or I was playing some faction, and I reduced, I think it was Rune actually, that I reduced to a single settlement and got them as a protectorate. And I was very happy about this. But they died the next turn. The faction was eliminated because they had one settlement, they had one old king, and he died, and so the faction was destroyed. So I spent all that money to get a protectorate and then didn't even get the benefit out of it. So, you know, if we get them down to a single settlement, that's going to be pretty touchy. Anyway, let's check out our news. Okay, so Harad is joining us, or Reunited Kingdom is joining us in our war with Harad. We got our provincial pacification in 3 ways, and so we are pretty much obligated to do this fiefdom dominion. That is going to cause some problems, or it's going to, let's see, it's actually going to help. Well, actually, no, this is going to do nothing. It's going to do nothing with regard to public order. What we're doing is, slowly we are causing some problems because there's so much Ways of the West here. This is a shadow cult settlement. And it is a shadow cult settlement because of all the buildings. So what we need to do is, a lot of these buildings, by the way, are from, I think it's this, yes, Central Eriador. So just the region itself is more in tune with the shadow cult, I guess. What we need to do to overcome that is start building Ways of the West type buildings, like our own cultural conversion line. Yeah, right here. So the chieftain's feasts, the lord's feasts, but we're gonna need to get, I think, up to here 60%. To that combined with a 25 native to the region is going to be more than the 75, right? So we'll be up at 85 Ways of the West through buildings versus 75 shadow cult through buildings, and that'll flip the settlement. So that's why we need to do this kind of quickly, so we can then immediately go with these. So we can get rid of this, because otherwise this is just going to continue to become a problem as more Ways of the West settlers continue to move in. So anyway, that's a long explanation of that. And we've still got plague in Woldburg, but I'm sure they'll be okay. We do have a spy, though. Let's actually send him up and see if anyone is in Sarnford. And they do have a noble here. So, that does make me feel a little bit better about taking, like, this settlement here. But not super high on the priority list. Partly because this settlement, these settlements in the west are just not very lucrative. So I don't think that Tharbad is going to be mounting much resistance to me. Let's see. So then where do we want to go? And honestly, I'd rather have Sarnford than them, because I could then limit them to like these 3 settlements. We've got Ridmallen here, Western Cardolan. We've also got Minhiriath, and then we've got this settlement, whatever it is. I think that's the way it goes. So we've got like 3 cities here. Tharbad could have all of these in theory. But what we now want to do is see if they have any family members down here. They've just got lieutenants here, so I guess we could move over in that direction, but
Captain.
let's see. Another easy one and a good one to take would be Swanfleet and Austin Ethel, because these two have some nice trade. They border the dwarves, who are a pretty passive faction, and again, that's kind of a pretty straightforward place to hold, given the rivers and the natural borders. So I'm thinking, I might want to move over here. We've got the forts. We've got enough stuff to slow Tharbad down and to quickly get back there if they were going to cause trouble. So maybe let's do that. Let's bring our new army over towards Swanfleet and see if he can take and hold it by himself. And this army, I'm going to put in an ambush position. Let's put him like right here and see if we can trick any Tharbad armies to move around. So we're at 15 settlements. We're going to need 40 total. So we do need to grab some places that we're gonna keep. Now, part of that's probably going to happen as we go back to war again with Dunland, which I do anticipate at some point. Okay, but down in the south here, we're going to be giving up a settlement. If I can get these guys out of here, which I can. I can get them all out this very turn. So we'll do that. You lot can come down here. And I think I'd like to grab this and give it to Harad. So I think that's the direction we're going to move in. I'll give this to Harad, but I don't know that they're going to be able to hold it. I'm not feeling super confident. Let's see. I do want to keep the emissary here just to keep tabs on it. So let's go around, and I'm going to give you Akkas Anabon. I'm also going to give you some money. We'll do 3,000. Very good. So that's, going to help them out marginally, I guess. We kind of know what's over there. So, yeah, they do have some forces here. I'd like to send the spy over to Umbar to get eyes on that city. And, geez, yeah, we're going to definitely train up all of these Southron skirmishers because they're so good. And I may as well get these guys. We're going to be going quite a bit in debt here, so to speak. All right, 3 seasons for that. All right, so who do we have for governor in here? Okay, why is it not him? He's literally the governor of Belligant. He's got the little, he's got the indication that he's the governor. Why do you have it? Okay, maybe just I don't know. It's very, very peculiar. But anyway, we're going to give him the lordship. That's going to make this other guy upset with us, but that's okay. And then we're going to take everybody else out. Belligate is still very happy with us, which is awesome. And we're going to move over here to Rathwin, and we're going to try to threaten the Dorwinian people. Because in a couple of turns, this is going to be almost ready to fall. And this army might just be big enough to intimidate Rathwin. But we shall see. Now, we do have an emissary in Ithilien, and I wanted to move him down towards Harad. Because we need to have someone who's capable of doing those negotiations. Our current emissary is getting pretty old. Alright, and we're attacked by a pretty small-looking army. It's a bunch of swords and a couple of units of spears. Well, an army like that can do a lot of damage to us. Alright, we've got a pretty sad-looking melee cavalry line. We do have some Riders of the Mark. We've got some Rohan Riders. We've got a single solitary mercenary Dragon Shield Rider unit. And really, the power of this army now is in the mercenary swording skirmishers. This is where we're going to get a lot of our work done. So we'll bring these guys up here. And actually, this line can go back, because all of those skirmishers up front have a fear effect. And so I think we don't need the cav like our bodyguard cav, or even this, what is it, this Dragon Shield Rider guy. We don't need them quite as much anymore, because we've got all these guys to do it. Now the Southron Spears, you know, they're gonna lose a lot to the javelins. But hopefully we will manage to take some of them out, and then we'll be able to send them against the spears here. There, we're starting to get some casualties on them. It's actually quite good. Right, they're sort of scrambling to address my cavalry. Alright, let's just tie up these guys. And the spearmen are really more expendable at this point. I'd rather keep... Okay, there we go. Where are you guys even going? Oh, they're going after the swords of Harad, who don't want to stick around and fight. Well, we'll send all of our cavalry after them.
The enemy general is running
Very
away.
good.
This is no way for...
Just rode over that enemy general. Where's the spearmen? Serpent. Okay, yeah, they're routing. I don't even see how that happened. I don't think they got into melee with us. But that's the thing. These skirmishers are so strong. And again, it's that fear effect. But they're also fast. They've got good missile attack. Let's see what that is. Yeah, 19. Compare that to my bowman, 16. So, okay, it's not a huge difference, but I think they're also good against armor with that particular attack. So they're just doing all kinds of work for you. Alright, and they do have some other armies that are interested in heading in our direction. So one thing I'm going to want to do is reassemble those armies to make sure we've got the right kind of units together. We are under siege at 3 ways. And by Dunland. So we're at war with Dunland. Alright, but we did get Fiefdom, Dominion, and Tharbad, which is fantastic. So, yeah, back at war with Dunland. Not a terrible surprise. This is actually a really good opportunity because this territory would be great to have. It's close enough to our capital, to our base of operations, that we really ought to be expanding into Dunland. So then maybe we'll do that instead of going to Swanfleet. We've got this army here. I think this army for now is kind of okay dealing with Tharbad. Maybe we can send them up here to swat away the besieging army. Let's see if I do this right. If I hit this army, they're both going to... Okay, there we go. We just saved the city from the siege. There we go. Used up all our movement points, but we got 3 ways back in business, so now we're continuing our Fiefdom Dominion. But yeah, this army we could send somewhere else. But let's send this scout back. So we need to get eyes on Dunland, since they're feeling so strong. Look what they sent after me was, I mean, this is actually a pretty dangerous army. It's almost entirely Dunlendish horsemen. Now, it's a very easy army to beat with the right units. But on an open battlefield, they can do a ton of damage. So we'll have a little bit of time here. You know, oh, that's right, and we have a family member in here, which I didn't do anything with. Okay. So this could be bad for him. And I think I sent all my extra guys somewhere else. So let's take these 3 units of cav. And then train something everywhere else. I think, yeah, they'll definitely get here next turn. Train up another unit of Lancers. You know, we'll get our own army of Lancers here, basically, and that'll be definitely enough to answer that particular threat. So I'm a little wary of sending this army down here. We've got a scout in the northern part of Dunland that tells me we don't have a lot to worry about. We absolutely need to take Dunkreok. We do not need to take Dunhold, but it's a chief city, and you know, I kind of want it. But this scout here is kind of flipping out a little bit. So let's move him up around. I know there's a lot of men in the settlement. Okay, there's an army up here. It's aimed at the Dunland Reaches. Now, there is an orc hold up here. You can't see it right now, but it's still held by the rebels. So that means that either it's under siege or they haven't gotten there yet. So that's good. But this army, let's see what it is. They've got, you know, a good mix of spears and stuff. So this would be a very tricky army for us to beat. So let's go back over here. Alright, I'm not seeing a lot in the central area. And they gave up taking Lawn-Dare. So, what should I do? Well, let's head down. Okay, we do have some mercenaries right away. Yeah, let's just go right here, as far down as we can go. Grab these guys and see what they're going to do. We'll have these other cavalry trained up. Next turn, we're going to send them out to hopefully relieve the siege. And then we'll bring these guys down and see if we can take Dunkreok between the two of them. And in the meantime, I want to kind of avoid any other big armies they send at me. We'll see how it goes. Over here, let's see. Let's bring us right next to Rathwin. They got 2 seasons left. Now, yeah, Dale took the Iron Hills, apparently, so that's good for them, I guess. Still have not taken Erebor yet. But there was a an emissary of Dorwinian, but I'm not seeing him anymore, unfortunately. So I'm thinking we may end up having to do this, this way. So we'll see what they have to say. Let's offer map information and just see what they say. Okay, right, too generous. So we'll put you guys under siege.
Engage the enemy. Besieging settlements, sir.
And now we got both your settlements under siege. We'll see how you like that. We can just do this repeatedly. And of course, the problem is we may become a target for these other factions. So I'm going to train one more unit of those skirmishers, those foresters, and hope that Northrune doesn't immediately besiege Belagant, which they probably could. Down here, we're going to keep moving our emissary.
Without delay.
And Harad has still managed to hold on to that, and they've actually kept this. Good for them.
Awaiting your command.
There was a big army of Harad. I'm not sure if they actually fought a battle or if they moved off. Okay. Yeah, it looks like Harad is now interested in attacking me. So what do we want to do? Well, let's get these guys sorted out first. Okay, so we've got two forces here. We've got our friend of the tall, our noble, and then we've got the other army, which is pretty much like it was before. We've just consolidated a few units of cav and moved them over. So now we have a full stack and then a slightly smaller stack. I think what I'm going to do, instead of going for this, because I really don't have a desire to fight these armies, but what I could do is trash Haradrian territory, not gift it to anybody, but just leave. The idea there is that hopefully you would see a sort of a quieting down of the war as Harad is forced to retake its territory from the rebels. Meanwhile, Harad is trying to consolidate what it has while still trying to hold out against like Khand and so on. And they've held off over here, so maybe I need to stop giving territory to Harad. And because they've got a pretty strong central area now where nothing's under siege. So rather than giving them this, I think we'll move over into the heart of Umbar. And that'll be the plan going forward. Oh, and I forgot to move my spy this turn, so he is going to slow march over there. We'll see what he uncovers. Yeah, lots of little armies. So I imagine Harad may want to gather up and attack one of my hosts. Now, I moved them deliberately a tile apart because I don't want them to attack the captain army and then have my general show up as AI-controlled reinforcements. So are we going to get hit? No, Harad did not hit us. And look, as typical, Harad has left its homelands, its Umbar settlements, pretty lightly defended. Yeah. Yeah, one unit in Umbar City. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Let's bring this guy over here. Well, maybe we should...
Orders. Engage the enemy.
Okay, great. They're...
Engage the enemy.
Oh, that's annoying. I should have seen that coming, though. So we're stuck here unless we actually want to fight this battle, and I kind of don't. Let's send a spy back to see how close those big armies are. Yeah, this one could just turn and hit us, and that might be the end for that army. So let's see. Yep, Dunland is now at war with the Reunited Kingdom again. Not that that matters too much. Dale and Rune have peace, and we trade a bunch of stuff. So tell you what, we're going to come back to this. Because I am going to have to fight this, but I'm not going to do it now. Instead, I'm going to move the main army away directly towards the capital. Okay, that's a little annoying. Or directly towards the capital. Now we've got a little infantry, so we could push a tower or two and take it in a season. But I am going to fight this, but I'm going to fight this off camera. But in the interest of just finishing up some things before I forget, what we will do instead... Okay, so now they've... Looks like they've started a siege here. Who's this? Okay, Khand. Really interesting. Khand is doing pretty well. Okay, they took Karasagar. And they've They are besieging but they have not taken Calenhad yet. Okay. Meanwhile, we want to get all of the cav over. Alright, I think that's everything that I trained. And we're going to hit this army of Dunland. Can I get to it? I'm not sure that I can. We'll get everybody else up too. Yeah, so that's just going to be the cavalry. There we go. So we've got just enough movement points, and if I do a sally here, they're going to stand and fight. Okay, so we do have to do this. We're going to get a bunch of cavalry reinforcements here, so that'll be nice. Let's hold off. What I think we'll do, we'll show this battle. I'll just swat this army away. And what do we have coming to meet us from Dunhold? Okay, they are bringing the army out. Again, this is a pretty substantial one. But I don't know if they're going to get there in time for us to get in time to save Anghal. So we'll put that under siege too. And with regard to Dorwinion, since we're down to one turn, I'm going to lift the siege. We'll go back to the negotiating table. Demand overlordship. Make a single payment as an offer of all of my cash. See if they like that, and they do not. It's probably going to take them over 100,000. But that's okay. We can just put this under siege again. And you notice that the size of the banner, the color in this banner, is going down. So even though it feels like we're not doing anything, they're losing men to attrition. We are not. Now, we are losing supply because we've got our king here who's just maintaining the siege forever. He's currently supplied rather than well supplied, so that's actually decent. But if we keep doing this for forever, he's going to just find it harder and harder to keep his men enthusiastic about fighting. If that supply trade gets down too low, we're probably going to want to pull him off of this duty and, you know, maybe just take a break from bullying Dorwinion, because we don't want to have to pull back and fight a big army of North Rune if they take advantage when our men are super low on supply. But for now, we'll leave it there. And speaking of leaving it there, what we are going to do off camera is fight this battle, which is, let's see, our men here. A lot of infantry, but some cav, against 3 Swords of Harad and a Spearman of the Serpent unit. And so this is probably not going to be a super interesting battle to watch, but afterwards we're going to do some other stuff. We're going to sally out from the fort, and we're going to see what the AI has to do in response to our movement. So thank you for watching this one, and I will see you in the next episode. Until then, take care.